The Beretta 96, the 40 caliber version of the well-known Beretta 92. But just stick around while we talk about this gun and see how it shoots. Thank you for dropping into Rider's Range while I take a look at the Beretta 96. Now, I believe that Beretta is the oldest continuously operating manufacturer of firearms and firearms parts in the world, maybe dating back to the 16th century. The Beretta 92, however, dates back to about the 1970s, and it has evolved a lot of design iterations since then, and actually coming from a design that sort of goes back to 1923. The original 92 was adopted by the United States military back in, I think it was 1985, became known as the M9, and it's currently in use by military and police organizations in many, many countries throughout the world. The 96 variant of the 92, I think, came about somewhere around 1985 also. It was discontinued for a while, I believe, but it's still in the catalog, so it's still available, although only one current variant. There are more variants than I can shake a stick at in the 92, 96, 98 series. Of course, the current one is the FS, the DA, double action only, no decocker, no safety on that. The G model is decocker only. This variant of the 96 is neither of those. It does have a decocker and also has the decocker safety on it. What makes the Beretta somewhat unique, of course, is the open top slide, by the way. Nothing in the magazine and nothing in the chamber. But that open top slide does a couple of things. Number one, it reduces the reciprocating mass, theoretically. But more importantly, Beretta claims that that open top slide completely eliminates the likelihood of stovepipes. And I've never had a stovepipe with it, so maybe very well it does. When the Berettas were first adopted by police here in this country, there was a problem with people practicing, apparently in prison, one-handed takedowns of this, and before they made a slight modification to the gun, it wasn't apparently too difficult to just somebody reach it from the front, take down the takedown lever, and pull the slide right off. And I'm guessing that just based on the design of this, it may still be able to be done. I thought there was a modification to it that made it a little more difficult, but not at all difficult on this one. By the way, for the YouTube reviewers, this gun is completely 100% stock, and field stripping it per the factory instructions, instruction manual, is not modifying this gun. So by taking the slide off, which is part of the field stripping process, I'm not disassembling, reassembling, or modifying the gun. That's just the normal procedure used for cleaning. So enough the rants for the YouTube reviewers. So I picked this up from a friend a while back, so it is pre-owned. It's in very good condition though, and as you can see, it does have a decocker and also safety on it. So when you pull the decocker down, hammer goes forward safely, and it stays in the safe position until you flip it up for firing. One problem with that particular design that I found, if you run the slide from the top, you can activate the decocker as well as the safety at the same time. Even if you slingshot it from the back, you can pull that down. You don't get that on a frame-mounted safety. Now, the single-action version of this for a target model does have a frame-mounted safety. Very, very nice gun, by the way. So the slide is reduced in width a little bit at the front, again for purposes of making it just a little bit lighter. Does not have any front serrations. However, you can do a press check using that indentation in the front. Does have rear cocking serrations, a dovetailed front white dot sight, and also a dovetailed rear two-dot sight, so it gives you the three-dot sight picture. I'm not overly fond of it, but I haven't had any problem making this one work. Let's see, it does have an indicator on the top that shows when the gun is, in fact, overriding the internal safety. You can see this protrusion comes up as you pull the trigger. When it gets toward the back, that's when the firing pin block has been overridden, and allows the firing pin to strike the cartridge. As the trigger goes back down, that safety comes back on. And we'll talk about triggers in just a minute, but we'll finish going around the gun first. This does have the original equipment, factory plastic grips on it. You can also get aftermarket grips for it. I've got some wood grips that came with it that actually make it a little fatter yet. This grip is fairly large in the hand. My hands aren't all that big, normal size, medium gloves, and I can reach the trigger and fire with no problem. I do have to shift my grip just a little to hit the magazine release, but not a lot, so I can still work it with these grips. Put the wood grips on it, makes it a little more challenging. Slide stop lever is very pronounced, very easy to activate, even from a normal grip position. That's not ambidextrous. The magazine release can be switched over to be ambidextrous on this gun. Let's see. We talked about the takedown lever. There's just striations on the front strap, striations on the back strap, not real aggressive checkering on the grip. So, yeah, this gun, when your hands start getting a little bit moist, may move around a little bit. Yeah, I don't have any problem making it work. It does not have a squared off trigger guard. Some of the 92s, the M9 and whatever, may have a squared off trigger guard. Some people like to ride their finger on the front when they shoot. Very bad practice unless you're a really expert shot at it. Most shooters have gotten away from that style. So rounded trigger guard, but plenty of room to get a gloved hand in even when it's in double action mode. In fact, no mag well at all. Not even any beveling inside of the mag well on this. But the magazines themselves are tapered, so there's generally not any difficulty in getting the magazine in. Lanyard ring for those who are tying a lanyard to it, so it doesn't you don't lose it when it falls out of the holster as you're riding your horse. Not a real heavy beaver tail on it, but it does provide good protection from the hammer. There's no way you're going to get any hammer bite from this gun. Trigger. Double action only on this particular gun. Runs at 11 pounds 10 ounces. Fairly consistent. It varies from about 11.5 to almost 12. But it is smooth. There's no hiccups in it. Very little take up. And no over travel. This hammer stops when it breaks, which is really nice. Single action on this gun is a really nice 3 pounds 4 ounces, and again, no over travel. Reset is not overly long, but then there's some take up after the reset. You hit a very distinct wall, and it's a very crisp trigger pull. So even going from double to single, this is a very controllable gun and a really nice single action trigger pull on this. I do want to compare this very briefly with the PX4 Storm, also by Beretta, polymer frame gun. That's a newer addition to the catalog, definitely different, whereas the original Beretta has an open top slide and a 5-inch, or actually a 4 3/4 inch barrel. The PX4 Storm is polymer framed, has a rotating 4-inch barrel. Still double action, single action, still has decocker safety. The double action, even though the trigger is a little more hooked on this gun, the double action on the PX4 Storm is a nice 10 pounds 2 ounces, very smooth. However, there is over travel. You can see on the when the safety is defeated here at the top, when the trigger breaks right about there, there's still just a little bit of over travel after it breaks. Reset. Again, about the same as on the 96, and some take up, a very crisp pull, almost no creep, but again, more over travel on the PX4 Storm. Single action trigger on this is 3 pounds 8 ounces, so it's just a hair heavier than the 96, but still a very nice. I like the double action on the PX4 Storm better. Single action on the 96 just a hair better. As long as I got this out, we'll take a quick side by side at it here. You can see the grips on the PX4 Storm are just a little bit narrower. The guns are about the same height, and of course the PX4 Storm is going to be a little shorter because it has a shorter barrel on it. It's still considered a full-size gun, and because it's polymer frame, this gun weighs in at loaded with a magazine of 14 rounds of 180 grain ammunition, along with one more for the chamber, so it gives it 15 rounds total. The PX4 Storm comes in at 37.8 ounces, which is almost 4 ounces lighter than the 96 that has a 12-round magazine and one more for the chamber. So that the 96 comes in at 41.5 ounces. So you got 2 rounds more in the PX4 Storm and still almost 4 ounces lighter. Of course, the PX4 Storm, you can also use the 17-round magazines that come with the CX4 Storm. We did a review on that gun. We'll try to post it up here. You can get 10, 11, and 12-round magazines. The 11-round magazine for the 96 that goes to the 40, has a flush base plate, whereas the 12-round magazine here does have an extended base plate. You can also get, I think, a 20-round magazine. It's not from the Beretta catalog. I think Pro Mag makes a 20-rounder for this, but the Beretta catalog just has these in 10, 11, and 12 rounds. Now, I shot both the PX4 and the 96 at 15 yards at a 3-inch bullseye, my normal accuracy testing, and they both shoot very, very well. Very happy with the groups. The 96 did fairly well shooting on the plates at 12 yards, had no problem with that. I started to struggle a little bit, strangely, at 25 yards. In fact, both of these guns had trouble with the flippers in the torso at 25 yards. Couldn't even get any flipper out with the PX4 Storm, but of course I'm using some hand-loaded ammunition, which probably wasn't all that accurate. I got the aim for the center torso flipper with the 96. I ended up getting the pelvic flipper out. Couldn't get it back in. However, right next to that torso is a plain old 6-inch plate, and I managed to hit the 6-inch plate just fine with both of these guns, so I don't know what it was with the flipper. But they shot fairly well at 25 yards, certainly good for defense. I struggled a little bit at 50 yards, however, with both guns. 16-inch was okay, the 12-inch generally was okay. I really struggled at the 10-inch with the 96 here. It was actually easier to hit the 10-inch with the PX4 Storm. And in fact, I did get, I think I got the 8-inch once with the PX4 Storm. I could not for the life of me get the 8-inch with the 96 here. Even using factory ammunition, I still had some difficulties. Now, I don't know if it's just the way the grip fits me. I'm a 1911 guy. I was shooting single action at that point, and it's got a really nice single action trigger, so I'm not blaming it on the trigger, I'm not blaming it on the sights. The only thing I can think of with this particular gun is how the frame of the 96 fits my hand. Certainly different than even the 2011s, the staccatos that I've been shooting with 9mm. So don't know what the difference is. And 40 caliber should be relatively accurate. I haven't had any real difficulties with it. I've got a couple other 40s I'm going to have to test. But anyway, 50-yard guns, okay. I've done better with smaller guns at 50 yards is all I'll say at this point. So how do I rank the Beretta 96? Don't have a 92 to compare it with. I've never been a huge fan of that platform, but the 96 itself it's very well made. It has a great history. It's a little heavier than the PX4 Storm, like I say, by about 4 ounces with two fewer rounds in it. The single action trigger on the 96 is preferable. The double action on the PX4 is a little bit preferable, but either one is a good serviceable trigger, and I really like the fact there's no over travel double or single action on the 96. It just doesn't fit this 1911 guy quite as well as I would like to, but this gun is certainly loved by many, and a whole lot of people swear by this gun, although the United States military has gotten away from it, but it did serve the military well for several decades. So at least the 92 version did. And I like my 40s. A lot of people don't, but I like the 40s. I want to like this gun, and I'm going to have to shoot it a whole lot more. I've probably got 200 rounds through it at this point, and by the way, I'll say 200 flawless rounds. I've never had a failure with this. It's just not giving me the accuracy that I personally would like. So that's my take on the Beretta 96 in 40 caliber. Thank you for dropping in to Rider's Range.